from the
All right.
entrance.
Hi, library folks. Can you? I know it kind of stinks, but can we turn off the library camera? I don't think we have enough bandwidth for audio and camera, and it would be best to get audio.
Yeah. So we're gonna go off camera to hold on.
You do stop video, bottom left.
Stop video. Okay, there you go. Okay, we apologize that we're gonna have to go preserve bandwidth. So without any further ado, here is Liz and tonight.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you. Welcome. I'm so sorry and getting started for June's meeting. Welcome everyone here at the library and welcome joining us online. Really appreciate everyone being here and being so patient. Thank you so much. So to start off this meeting, we're just going to be through some house rules really quickly. We're going to be focused on no solving. If you are someone that likes to talk a lot, to step forward and let others step back forward. We're open, honest, and safe space. We're going to listen in mind, believe in everyone's best intentions, be action oriented, what we want, when we want it, and plan for it to happen. Fairhaven centered is what we look for every single month. And we're going to start, proceed, and end our time to honor the agenda. I apologize for the technical difficulties this evening. So without any further get started, I'd like to go ahead and call the meeting to order. If you we're not going to be streaming live, so I'm happy to or streaming with the camera on, so we don't go through the instructions if you don't want to appear online, but just make sure to mute your microphones. People are talking and you can use the chat box. So I'd like to officially call the meeting to month of June, and I'll start with the roll call of the board. Liz, present.
Present. Abby, present. Adam, present.
He is there.
So is he unable to hear us? Able to hear him? Adam, try saying something.
Oh, hello, I am present. Sorry, I was muted.
You're good. And Christina, myself, I'm present.
Okay, and of course Lee is he's not going to be there. So we have forms so we can just not so much approve, but
do we have quorum?
No, we do not.
No. Okay, that's okay. We'll come back. So for the financial report, we have Gina.
We took 4 minutes first.
Oh, sorry. So do we need that form to approve the minutes or not?
Yes. Oh, okay.
So we're going to come back to that from last month's meeting. All right. Thank you, Gina.
Yeah.
I don't think I gave everyone a total of the door prize, thanks to our vice chair and Alder Sarah Miller. The door prize for the total of $1,210. And that's the first time we received a donation of any sort since November 22. So thank you again. In April, we did a bank statement attached to the financial statement. So that has been attached. The March ending balance was $4,465.68. And the April balance was $4,399.09. We disputed a service charge that was assessed to the account, and that was credited and reversed back 50 cents. There were no deposits, and there was only one check written. Well, it was a debit transaction, and that was for the retreat that was on April the 4th. In May, the April day balance was $4,399.92. An expenditure of $4.89, and that was so we could add to Zoom Spanish translation to test that out. That will work. And our May ending balance is $4,395.03. And that's it.
Thank you so much, Gina.
You're welcome.
Really do appreciate it. And moving, actually, Lieutenant Pumiali is here with us at the library. So, take it away with the report. Thank you.
Should I come up here or what's the best?
We're just
Sit here like
sit right there.
being targeted by Congress? Hopefully no time soon. All right, good. It's kind of weird. Thanks.
You could say your chair, like, we'll still be able to hear you.
All right, we can do this.
It's just so you're closest to the.
I got you.
Thing.
Everybody look at the sun.
There we go.
Okay, so this month, honestly, a phenomenal month. Crime is very, very low. The biggest concern this month was the homicide that occurred on May 20th. And that incident around 12:30 in the afternoon, which obviously is very concerning. 12:38 in the afternoon, responded on May 20th to shot spotter notification of several shots and multiple 911 callers in the area of Wolcott Street and Ferry Street. I arrived at the scene. There was an individual who was deceased in the road. He was shot multiple times. He was suffering from multiple wounds and was transported to the hospital. That individual was Peter Arroyo, his birth 24/1981. We quickly developed a suspect. Officers did some great work. It looks like I can't really go into too many details as far as the suspect goes, or out on. I'm not concerned for any retaliation in the area based on the information that we have. We have a very good suspect developed, of which the U.S. Marshals are currently looking. So I'm pretty confident we will have him in custody very soon. I believe a murder warrant and authored by detectives and signed, which is pretty incredible, honestly. I signed, the incident happened, I think it was a Monday, and I want to say the warrant was signed the following Monday, which for murder investigations, that's very rare. For our technology, a lot of the investigative techniques that detectives use, we were able to rapidly develop a suspect looking for. Additionally, in the district, if you look at the entire, I'll just go through some statistics. So where we've seen in the last 28 days, a 33% decrease in robbery, a 30% decrease in burglaries, a 50% decrease in motor vehicle theft. The 2 motor vehicle thefts that occurred during the month of May did not meet the usual trends. It seems like the day trend has slightly subsided, where we were getting absolutely, there were a lot of motor vehicle thefts all over the city, all over the state. Subsided, we've gone back to, if people leave generally there are people leaving their cars running when they on a hot day, they leave the air conditioning running, the Uber Eats drivers, Grubhub drivers, cars running, and then people who leave their keys in their cars. People in the suburbs are the biggest culprits of this, so we get individuals from our area going out to the suburbs and picking up Range Rovers and Maseratis where people leave their keys in the car. So that is what it is. Additionally, officers have been present a lot of the hotspot areas. So we've been working, the officers have been working tirelessly. Impact, Grand and Poplar, all of Grand Avenue. We've tried to have officers walking. I'm happy that the crime on Grand Avenue has decreased rapidly, and it's pretty obvious. So where we were a couple months ago to where we are now, hoping we can keep that summer. Additionally, there's not really much else going on in the as far as crime goes. We're working on a couple of different things. I don't know if we've ever talked about it in this particular, but on Thursdays, every other Thursday, there's a group of city officials that meet. All their participates, as does all the Prudenti and all their Tammy Smith, and we talk with different entities, different departments on how to address some of the issues going on inside the district. the areas. We actually were talking about it it's been going on for a couple of years now. We've been talking moved a lot of those items that have been persistent issues in the district by working on the issues. We've been able to put a lot of those onto the back burner and still focus on a lot of the really challenging issues that we have in the district, some larger citywide issues that manifest themselves in Fairhaven. It is very possible that this is my last management team meeting as the Fairhaven district manager. While I have East Shore and Fairhaven, I'm thinking about it now, and I think July 4th is the first Thursday of by July 15th, I most likely will be in my new role, and you all will have a new district manager. Liberty to say who it is. I had a hand in choosing this person, so a great replacement for me. I am most likely going to take over supervisory position that the chief has been talking about in the media as the new coordinator mental health and wellness for the police department. And so that role is going to be an interesting role. It's a new role, but I think it encompasses a lot that I do kind of on a part-time basis across the city, both for the police department and for citizens in crisis.
Oh. Sorry, I had to mute Abby.
I don't think I have anything else. Obviously, I've been in Fairhaven. I'm not leaving Fairhaven. I will be out here dealing with some of the more pressing issues that I've been trying to focus more on the mental health side of things with some of the chronically suffering from addiction and mental illness out on the street.
I'd like to say thank you for everything that you've done, and as has happened so many times in our district, we are very happy that you're moving on, but it's sad that we're going to be losing you. I don't know if that might be true for others. So. No, absolutely true. So thanks.
Thank you.
I do have a question. I just was wondering, like, what the status of the program is. I saw it broke over the China Square Park not too long ago. And like, oh, I wonder if that's police or is that something else?
It's something else. If we have drones, the police department does. We use them generally for there's an operation. It's challenging to fly our drones in the city because of the airport, and so there's a lot of the FAA. We are able to circumvent some of that for emergencies, but generally we're not flying drones on the regular.
So we're be seeing drones in the city already because of the planes.
There's a ceiling that they can fly under, so any a drone that is flying underneath the ceiling is for what the ceiling is. But the FAA is pretty strict. As soon as you go above that, somehow the FAA drone and it falls out of the sky. So I don't know how they do that, but there is some sort of fly zone that as soon as it flies into that or above that certain height, it doesn't. Yeah, something happens.
Okay, well, thanks for the info.
I just want to say that, I know you for a long time, as grown an officer, you went up to channel stuff, and I dealt with you very closely for years. And I want to congratulate you on that next step.
All right, we've lost audio. It's potential that they're switching out the computers at the moment. Hold with us, everyone. We're having a little. We turned off the video because it was a rough connection, but I think we're switching to somebody else's laptop.
Any other district kind of have an idea, but I'm interested.
Oh, but it's a Mac, so it doesn't work. So
how I can work with people all over the city to try to address some of the issues.
But sounds like you want to make something for you.
Yeah.
So
I
you want to take the time when you can, but sometimes it's
For my
not
triumphant return.
calendar year. Well, maybe you can come with the new.
Yeah. I absolutely will introduce, so my replacement will be, will ride with me for at least 2 weeks, and I'll introduce him to all of you, and I'm not going anywhere.
You want to say a more official thank you?
Yeah.
Yes, I appreciate it. I also was keeping it, this has been in the works for probably about a year or so. I keep it a little bit closer to the chest to a degree.
Hi, I'm just curious, more when ATVs, dirt bikes and such are also back. The city planning on doing this year, and I heard drones, I've heard maybe work that, and then the gas station issue too, where they have the big ordinance in, but the gas stations don't follow it, and their bikes are at gas stations. So what was the point of the ordinance if it's not followed up on?
I agree with that on the ordinance for the gas stations. Due to refresh all of that at the gas stations to remind the gas stations and the people that are working there that they can't be allowing individuals to fuel their bikes and quads at that. They're in violation of the law there. Officers actually, Officer Heriberto Rodriguez on Sunday saw a group of individuals that were fueling up, and he was able to apprehend one of them who had on him while they were fueling up. A grown man with a riding around on a dirt. And so at the Citgo gas station at Ferry and Staple. And so yeah, a very good. So one, the plan is we continue to have the dirt bike and quad detail. So we actually reached out to other agencies around New Haven that they assist us with staffing. And so we have officers from other towns come in and help us out for our presence to drive dirt bikes and quads placed on the city. And that's using a bunch of different tactics, cameras, try to identify people, etc. That's definitely a priority of the chief officers in Fairhaven specifically.
Oh, are they still closing off Crusulo Park after dark?
So
they had the gate last year, which worked wonderfully, you know?
Yes.
This year I haven't much.
Yes, so there were some issues with the lock on the gate, so we've been working with parts to try to make sure that the lock is able to be secured and that officers have keys to be able to unlock and unlock.
Because that's a gathering spot.
It certainly is.
Yeah.
I'm also we're looking at trying to I'm not sure, maintain ADA requirements, but also still try to deter dirt bikes from riding around on Crusoe Park specifically. And there's a lot of complaints. We're trying to figure out other options to be able to shut that down while still allowing access to people who want to use the.
Yeah, because there's people that actually ride in the park with their cars, yeah, all right. And Cole online just thanks you for all you've done, the great job for, and you're such an asset to the NHPD. So,
Thank you, Natalie.
all right.
So a question on the quads and stuff. So I actually noticed the most when school left out. And so that's particularly concerning Whitman Street. I live on, there's 4 schools. So 3 or 4. So I don't know if I'm the lucky one, or if other people are noticing it seems louder at that time, or maybe I'm more aware of it because I'm paying attention to kids. Yeah, a little differently.
So if you wanted to text me, but times I understand it's when school lets out, but like what the dirt bike looks like, what the quad. Sometimes what we see is like there'll be someone from somewhere in the neighborhood who gets out on their quad at a certain time, and the same person is riding around in the same area. Officer, do a good job. It's honestly a really challenging thing for us to do. It's incredibly dangerous. That an officer broke his leg, stopped some dirt bikers, and is out of work for probably 6 to 8 months. I'm happy that he'll be able to walk again. Bad fracture at Ferry and to effectively see a lot of.
All right.
We've lost them, huh?
I think we've lost the library. As I say, it seems that whatever computer they're using today is not up to.
Tell them all the police department.
Oh.
We also,
they're back.
which allows the city to see them.
And probably right?
We're working on that, but the city is not.
Yeah, we just passed, so it'll take a while to figure out this is also being helpful.
Every little bit helps.
I'm gonna jump on my phone so that I can also get on. Yeah, all right. All right, so, I did check to make sure there weren't any questions from anyone via online. So-
We completely lost you for a minute there.
Oh, okay, so can you now?
90%.
This is David Hunter from Mary Wade. I just wanted to say thank you to the lieutenant. He's been an asset to our community. And I think even though he's got the job, his dream job, I think he's going to be around in Fairhaven. Even though he's somewhere else, he'll always be with us. I know that for sure. So, Lieutenant, thank you for everything. Thank you doesn't seem to be enough, but greatly appreciate all that you've done for this community. You know, and I'm sure you've done a lot more than I even am aware of. But what I am aware of, I'm really grateful to you, and you've really been, you know, a key component of building community in Fairhaven, and very grateful for all that you've done for us.
Thank you very much, Mr. saying that. But by the way, the Fairhaven district manager was my dream job. I quite a bit. I remember getting yelled at by Sergeant Johnson at the time when I was a officer, and Sergeant Mayo and Sergeant Tizona. And so I always remember sitting on the opposite side of that desk, and I pinched myself that I finished being district manager, which is actually pretty wild to me as a young man aspiring to be a super department. I can't believe I'm done being the Fairhaven district manager, which is pretty wild. So thank you.
I can echo this, you know, you're always welcome to come over for lunch on Mondays.
Thank you.
Yeah, I am new here. How long have you been working in this position?
So I've been in this position for 5 years. I've spent my entire time as a officer though, so I was lucky enough to walk Grand Avenue when I first came on as a police officer, and I fought my time to be able to stay in Fairhaven, so I love it here. I would stay here forever if I could.
I think it's important, like what Sally said about all the changes, like this is the longest period of stability we've ever had.
In my career, I would be my 9th district.
And so, I mean, just that stability. And all the things you do, we really appreciate the stability, I think has also just been very. And I think it's worth saying that so many of the former district managers still call on all the time. Definitely. And actually calling on you. Getting, you know, in your blood, so you're sure your family, you're forever dirty, but yeah. So we'll look forward to new blood and continuing to work with you. Go away.
I'm so sorry. I was troubleshooting tech issues. Where are you going?
The mental health and wellness unit for the city/police department.
Got it. Amazing.
All right.
Well, thank you.
I'll get off the hot seat now.
Appreciate everything that you do for us and for our thank you.
Thanks, Liz.
You're welcome. Up next, we have Mendez. She's joining us via Zoom. Hopefully, we'll be able to hear her. Go ahead, Tom.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so it's my camera that doesn't work. I apologize for that. There's no little light that's going on, so I must be.
Oh, we lost you. Oh my Lord.
Just wanted to let you know that we are concentrating and exits of Fairhaven. So you're talking the Grand Avenues, the Lombards, the Blatchley.
We're losing her.
I just say, Carmen, we're
losing her.
cutting out.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, can you try turning off your camera since there's nothing there?
Let's okay, sure. Does
that might help. Yeah.
So it helps. I'm okay now?
Yeah.
Okay, real well. So as I was saying, we're concentrating on major thoroughfares in Fairhaven, on keeping them clean, keeping illegal dumping been illegally dumped, and dealing with tall grass and vegetation. And we're talking about the major routes into and out of Fairhaven.
Not working.
Blatchley. It's not working?
No. In and out.
I don't know what to do then.
As I say, we're cursed this evening. We got two bad connections. Everyone can hear me fine, right? I heard
Yep.
Dennis fine.
Yes, yep. Yep.
That's mine again, right? You can hear me
Yep.
fine?
Yeah, Alder Redente, you seem to be coming through okay, so I don't know where the kind of technical bandwidth issues are happening, but we're definitely having difficulty hearing both the library and Carmen.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I heard that.
Yeah, it might be
Okay.
it might be the weather.
It just might be.
It's thundery. Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is.
That's a technical.
Right.
So we're doing major avenues first. So we're doing major avenues first, but I've been also down other streets to the housing code enforcement officer. We've been down Pine Street, down James, Market Street, Clay Street, Shelter Street. Themselves at those areas, and we will be dealing with them on a one-to-one basis.
Hey Carmen,
Yes.
you're a little in and out, so if we could kind of make this a brief month, perhaps, I think that would probably be the best strategy.
Okay, so you know what? I'll concentrate on something that's really great, and that is the 292 Ferry Street.
No.
Rid of
Lost
the
it.
barber shop at the corner of Exchange and Ferry. And that house that's been dilapidated for a long time will be rehabilitated. Did you get that?
Yeah.
Only part of it.
Yeah, 292 Ferry Street, there's a dilapidated house that's getting redone.
That's right. And 379, 381, the
No, I'm sorry, Carmen. You're kind of just out more than you're in.
okay.
Carmen, why don't you chat your updates and we can just kind of move on. And
Yes.
Thank you so much, Carmen. I apologize again to everyone for all the difficulties. But just a reminder of the presentation by J1 Carter, who heads the civilian review, and his email address is in the agenda. We'll also put that out in the e-blast, and I can try to type it in really quickly into the chat if you want to get in contact with him. Any police related issues where you may think that there is any kind of discrepancies with how a situation may have been handled. The next point on our agenda be with Ms. Kathleen Prolak with any economic development updates that may be relevant for this month.
Liz, can I interrupt for a second?
Oh, yes, go ahead.
Should I give the CRB update?
No, that's J1's spot. That's we only presents quarterly. That's just a reminder that we do have that quarterly.
I'm the alder on CRB, though. I sat in on the meeting the other night at legislative committee. If you guys want me to give you that update.
No, you can wait till your alder portion if you want, but yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Kathleen is not here in person in the library, nor is she online, so we're just going to keep moving on to environment and immigration. Please, grant sound. I do not see you here. Oh, there you are.
Oh, great.
Out here to be heard?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't want to be, but okay. I'll just follow Lieutenant Pugliati. Don't take that chair. Okay. Got it. I just feel like I'm giving everybody else like that. I got it. Okay. My name is Campos. I live on James Street. And like I said earlier, once you're Fairhaven, you're forever. I'm really excited to see me at almost every event. So for a long time, they watched my babies grow up. And I'm very excited working this project for Safe and Sound for the next few months. And we're doing a few events. One of them, we had a little technical difficulty with the flyer, but we're having something coming up next Wednesday. And Southern is looking to do foster a relationship with Fairhaven with their green and blue space program that they have. And they're wanting to come and really get all of as much info. I know as a Fairhavener, part of me wants to roll my eyes at that, right? Because we're going to have the same conversations, right? So what they're hoping, and I push them on, with because they have access to grants and they have access to people doing their thesis work and their, both their graduate work and undergraduate work, that the things that we rate and create a path forward towards action. And that's actually what we ended up naming the event, was the path to action. So I'm, there's Fairhaven jadedness that I have with that, but I'm hoping they'll do awesome things. So that's happening next week. And we're hoping to have it at Haven and Exchange. And you guys are probably more familiar on that site. We are very grateful to Tirsa Kemp in working with DPW and helping to clean up that area. We've had a lot of people camping out at the Mill River walk and on the trip. And that's, so when I was in charge of stuff on Grand Ave, thing was like on the street, and I think part of the goal that we have with this is to activate those spaces so that people are able to get out and walk the spaces. And I think some of the things that we're all troubled by will sort of work themselves out a little bit differently. But Tirsa's been great about getting cleaned up. Just talked to Grand Paint. I guess they've also had trouble that walkway. And our hope is really, this is part of a bigger, what I'm doing is a little part of something a lot bigger, which is like, you guys know how the park, it used to be a dump, right? And it got cleaned up and the neighborhood Fairhaven organized up over many years. And now it's a beautiful park that we can all enjoy a walk on. So the goal is to connect, the Quinnipiac River and the Mill River and have beautiful green band and access to the water for Fairhaven residents. So the sound is working on is cleaning the Mill River up, right? So that we have coming up in June is on June 21st, and it's actually at the place I'm renting. So this is a little bit, some of it's really personal because it's my neighbor doing here as well I'm here. I worked with my landlord to start creating a food forest, and Save the Sound has this garden program that's actually accessible to anyone who's parallel to the Mill River. So if you have any water coming into your basement, have runoff issues, Save the Sound will come and sort of do so yeah. I come to Fairhaven. Thank you. I moved to Fairhaven for English words anymore. So an assessment to figure out, thank you, to figure out whether your property qualifies or not. So we just did a garden on Blatchley near the Mill River. And so you just have to be like a block or two away from the Mill River. And the whole idea is to prevent, do you guys know that the sewage in Fairhaven is linked to, right? So our children can't like splash in the water, but that makes me feel sad that our children in the water puddles because they're polluted. So we're trying, one of the things that Save the Sound's trying to do is to like of that water from overflowing our sewage system so we don't have those problems. So there, do you guys know Domingo from Fields and Wheels?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So he's gonna come
first, and so that is on James near Clay. There's going to be a garden. There'll be food. There's going to be, teaching how to do these different things, how to do compost. I'm going to try to get a few barrels so people can actually take a barrel home if they're really interested, if they want to sing at home in a covered, setting, and all that. And we'll have plants to give out. So it'll be so that's 6:21, and we're going to do it 5 to 7. We'll have food, we'll have music. It'll be fun. And then 7:12, and I'm not going to tell you all the events for August because it's too much, but on 7:12, there's going to be kind of like a town hall meeting at Junta after the recycle that happens the first Friday. No, maybe second. So at Junta, they do this big recycling thing. And so because this TD, we're having Deep come and talk about all of the laws that are happening around environmental justice. So Deep right now is in the middle of creating parameters for an environmental. And they're really interested with Edith Pestana is heading that up. They're really interested in how environmental justice issues are impacting communities. And so this is the first of its kind project that's happening like throughout the state, where Deep is for different events to happen and to conversations to continue to happen. So hopefully the law is developed. So I know like as a Fairhaven, another meeting, but because it's connected to Deep and the law that is being developed as we speak, it's really important that our voices are heard. And that's the piece of it throughout all of the events that we really want to circle back to, because I think we're often ignored.
Okay. What time is
that? Was a lot.
What time is that town hall meeting?
That's going to be from 5 as well. So it's right after the recycling event. We'll have food, and then we'll start.
And what's the address for the June 21st? James and where?
James near Clay.
Mm-hmm. Can you send all that information about those events to the email address Fairhaven CM? Mm-hmm. And we'll get it into our e-blast?
Yeah, that'd be great. Great. You guys have any questions on this information? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good to be back. I really appreciate it.
It's been fun.
Mm-hmm. On that side.
Okay.
Hello, library. Are you still there?
And I did have some slides if you're able to pull them up.
Yeah,
Hello, library.
He was suggesting that he would use his laptop just.
Yeah,
but I don't need to tell us whether or not it's still choppy.
It sounds like
take just
we've lost you completely for a little bit here, so.
Okay, I was not here, better.
Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yep.
Well, he can hear you because you're right at the computer, but he's not going to be able to hear this.
Was the computer open?
Absolutely. Or we can just use the microphone thing. It's up to you.
All right. Yeah. So, yeah, if you plug in the microphone and the camera, you should be able to switch over to those, and those should pick up the whole room.
Can you hear or no?
Yeah, I can hear that. You can also utilize the camera and mic that are plugged into Liz's computer currently.
Let's just do it so that we can stop.
Sure, whatever you guys want to do. This internet circumvents the internet at the library, so that should be fine.
So I am seeing
Super police internet. Also, it doesn't work most of the time.
I want super police internet.
Yeah, I'll be back for the meeting.
Like, it's up to you. Camera.
All right. You have background blur on, which is.
Okay.
Oh, we're having a fun meeting this month. I don't think we've had this many technical difficulties since we first started doing hybrid. So,
yeah,
nope, we had one a couple months ago. That's right, where the internet just didn't work.
Is this good?
I think Liz needs to. You need to mute, not just mute, turn the volume down on your device.
Oh. Hello.
Keep going, that's right there. 0.
How about now?
Great. Yeah, amazing.
Good?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Can you hear us?
Hello.
Right, so then now you have to turn your
Wouldn't be
volume.
able to tell everybody, yeah. He's talking, but we can't hear you.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're not connected to the speakers, it's gonna give weird feedback. So.
So it's just coming from his computer, which is fine. Yeah. Okay, that's okay.
Weird feedback or no?
I not right now, but it shouldn't be a problem if the HDMI cable is plugged into your computer.
I think we're good.
Yeah, the volume's great.
Wonderful.
Actually,
Super police body.
All right.
I had some slides.
I do remember. So say it to right to him. He can hear you.
Oh yeah.
Slides.
She has some slides. Yeah.
Okay. Slides for what organization?
Common Ground,
share
the mobile market.
Right.
Perfect.
I'm sorry. Too many people are talking. I can't hear that.
Okay, it's Common Ground Mobile Market sent by
Oh.
Sean.
Yeah, I'll look for that.
Thank you.
Thank you all for your patience. Sorry about all that.
So while he's pulling that up, I'll just introduce myself really briefly. So my name is Chandra. I work for the Common Ground Urban Farm and High School here in New Haven. I have a few roles with them. I'm the compost coordinator. I work really closely with Domingo, so I was like, yeah, Domingo. In addition to that, I also manage our mobile market. So I'm going to be talking about the mobile market today, some of our successes from last year, specifically here in Fairhaven, as well as some of our upcoming challenges and sort of an ask for help from the community. So once the slides get up, we'll get right into it.
I was just say, did you send that to the email?
I did, yes, and someone did respond to me this afternoon.
That was me.
Thank you.
It's the fourth.
Sorry, I'm looking in my own personal email. I'll look in the I'm sorry.
4th email down.
It's titled Slides for Tonight's CMT Meeting.
Perfect. There we go.
Great. Thank you so much. Awesome. So for those of you who may not be familiar with the mobile market, we're a program that operates every year from July through November. We started in 2012. And our goal was to connect Connecticut farms to residents in New Haven in specific neighborhoods where access to fresh produce is limited. We proudly accept all forms of food benefits, specifically WIC, senior and disabled farmers market nutritional program funding, as well as SNAP. And through our partnership with CDC, we're able to offer 50% discount to SNAP participants. And so that's a little bit about the background of the mobile market. Thank you for intuitively going to the next slide. So just to go over some of our highlights from last year. In our season from July through November, we had 50 total stops across 11 different locations. We served more than 1,400 community members. 82% of sales were made with food assistance benefits. That's specifically the Farmers Market Nutrition Program and SNAP, and that's across all of our stops. But specifically at the Fairhaven Library, that number jumps to 89%. And then at Bella Vista, just in the next neighborhood over Fairhaven Heights, it's 99% of customers pay with those food assistance benefits. Some of our other successes, we sourced from 7 different local farms. Last year was my first year managing the market, and I tried to make us as hyper-local as possible. So I made that radius of which farmers we sourced from a 20-mile radius or less. And that includes our farm at Common Ground. Some of our produce comes straight from the farm that we cultivate with our students. And what's great about that is that makes sure we bring in the most fresh produce we possibly can, and also that we're investing in our regional growers. And then another success that really felt great for us and was validating is that 100% of our community partners that we surveyed after the season was over said that they felt like the mobile market was a good resource for seniors, WIC participants, and other customers to get access to that local produce, and are excited to welcome us back next year. And I actually just finalized like a draft of our calendar for this upcoming season, and everyone is welcoming us back, and we potentially have 2 more stops to add. Next slide. Oh, I will definitely tell you. So specifically in Fairhaven, we have 3 locations. I'm including Bella Vista, even though it's technically Fairhaven Heights. We come to the Mary Wade Senior Center 3 times in a season. We did that last year, and we're going to do that again this year. And then Fairhaven Library is actually like our bread and butter stop. It's the only stop that we go to every single week of our mobile market season. We come every single Tuesday from 3 to 5 p.m. And again, that's going to start July 16th and end November 8th, I think. It's like very early November. So it'll be 17 total stops. We did that last year as well, 17 total stops. And at Bella Vista this year, we're actually increasing our number of stops from 3 to 5 because we found that there was an incredible need, that the residents at Bella Vista had a really hard time accessing supermarkets and had those wonderful farmers market nutrition plan cards and didn't have any way to get to the other farmers markets around town. So incredible need, high demand, very limited access. So that was kind of our impact here in Fairhaven. So I want to talk about now the challenges. There's a lot of challenges that come with managing a nonprofit market that is bringing produce around an entire city. But the biggest one for us right now is lack of funding. So I'm just going to use Fairhaven Library as an example. A typical market for us costs just one market here for 2 hours so that we can pay our staff fairly and also pay our farmers fairly, costs us almost $800. Even though it's a really great stop and we get a huge consistent amount of customers, we have people waiting in lines before we even get here. Our typical total sales for the day is $500. And that's because we try to keep the cost of the produce accessible as well. So that ends up giving us a deficit of close to $300 per Fairhaven Library stop. Often that deficit in the past has been funded through partnerships and grants. Unfortunately, this year, we've had a really hard time securing grants. We haven't really gotten any funding for our mobile market this year. And I think a lot of folks think that it's something that is self-funded or that we make a profit, and it's really not. We just try to cover our operating costs. That's really it. So next slide, please. So my ask to you as Fairhaven leaders is we really need help finding other funding opportunities that we may not be thinking of to keep the mobile market happening, because we want to keep it going another, as many years as possible. So if you have any ideas on grants or sponsorships or partnerships that we may have missed, that like our grant writer might have missed, please shoot me an email at mobilemarket@nhep.com. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the information. We appreciate it.
I have a question here. Let me stop my share so we can see if there's other hands. But I'm raising my hand. I have a question.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
What's your question?
So it showed that you've got a little bit of a deficit when you're coming to Fairhaven. If we all came out and just like bought out all of your vegetables, would that cover the deficit, or?
It would help certainly, but we have actually sold out of produce on several occasions here at our Fairhaven market. So it would help. But again, it is our busiest market. And so if you compare that to some of our quieter markets that are still important, in some ways, maybe we'd close that gap here at Fairhaven Library, but we'd still have gaps at other stops. Yeah. So those funding opportunities are still really helpful. Oh, and one thing I did forget to mention that I wanted to add that's relevant to Fairhaven is, Mary Wade is a really important stop to us, and they did request more stops, and we can't fit it in our budget or staffing this year. So I would love to come out to Mary Wade more often, and currently we can't.
I have a comment. First of all, this is high quality and fresh vegetables that are homegrown at an extremely reasonable price.
Thank you.
So everyone in Fairhaven should be buying their vegetables and fruits from these folks. And I've just been very, very impressed not only with the folks, their organization, but the quality of the food is outstanding. And so that being said, then we are trying to organize meeting with a cop. I can't remember what we call it, Lieutenant. Around the times that we have
Coffee with a cop, David.
Coffee with a cop. Thank you. Around the same times that we have the vegetable stands with us, so hopefully it'll draw more people. And lastly, on your slides, you said Mary Wade Senior Center. There's a senior center up the street called the Atwater Senior Center. I didn't want anyone to get confused.
Oh, okay.
That Mary Wade's senior living community versus a senior center. It's not Atwater, it's Mary Wade.
Gotcha. Thank you so much, David.
Thank you.
Were there any other questions?
Online, Laura?
I have a question actually.
Yeah, Abby.
Have you guys, I'm sure you probably exploited this, but do you guys get any grant funding from Yale in any way?
Not that I'm aware of. We do get a Yale Fellow. So I have a lot of help from a Yale Fellow this semester or this year, who's going to be helping me with outreach, and we don't have to pay her salary. So that's a big deal. But if there's other like grants or things that we could apply for. Oh, and the Yale Sustainable Farm donates some produce to us.
Yeah, we have a seed to salad that's on Edwards that gives out money too. That's interesting.
Okay.
We'll follow that.
What about partnering with, and they're always trying to raise money too, but the city urban ag department, I mean, I know they're really supportive of, because I think you would fit into like our greater mission on the urban ag.
Okay, let me. Okay, my notes. I can write
We
this
should
down.
email you, right?
Yeah, that would be really helpful.
Urban
Yes.
ag is a really great
Urban ag.
and LaThaw, LATH.
Oh, we work with LaThaw, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if there's some collaborative grant.
I can reach out to LaThaw. Thank you so much.
I don't think you have to think that they should do smaller, like neighborhood tech grants, so they might do it. I think it's.
And the Graustein Foundation?
Graustein?
Yeah, GRA, you guys help me out.
GRAUSTEIN.
And then hit up the Friends Meeting House. They'll give you like $500 or something.
So that's a great.
Yeah. Hit up the Friends.
Is this how this goes?
Seniors.
Okay.
That's part of the Friends meeting.
This is great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
Anything else?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Is there bureaucracy involved to be a shopper?
I'm sorry?
Is there bureaucracy involved?
And what person?
We have a card, you need to have a card.
No. We accept the food assistance benefits, but we also accept cash, credit card, check. Anyone can come to the market.
So I was in the green, some elderly food service was giving money, giving food. They asked I should have applied first. And since there were 2 weeks to the end of the season, it wasn't working.
Yeah. Well, you can definitely apply for this coming season. And like I said, we'll operate July through November. So you'll have plenty of time to use your benefits.
So I have to apply.
Yes.
That's
to get the card.
That's bureaucratic luck. Okay.
No, you can buy with cash, but if you want to get.
I don't buy it. Fine.
Yeah.
Oh, one more question.
Yes.
Oh, how do you set prices? I mean, your prices, I mean, are too low, or, can you establish your prices or to make extra money?
I mean,
your revenue?
It's a fine line, but the customers that we're catering to, we're trying to keep the prices accessible to them. So usually we're selling them close to at cost. Because we still get complaints that it's too expensive.
How about the farmer markets around the city? Not yours, but like the one at Worcester Square.
The city feed markets?
Yeah, and to sell your vegetables at those markets at a higher price to make a profit to subsidize the other ones that you do for, lower prices.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. Our program was created specifically to fill the gaps that City Seed leaves because they hit some really great neighborhoods, but they can't go to like the senior centers and things. So we don't really, it's sort of like we don't overlap with them on purpose. Yeah, if that makes sense. But thank you for those suggestions.
We'll hit you with some leads.
Yes, I really appreciate it.
People in this room will have lots of leads.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. And I appreciate everyone, helping Hunter out. We want to do that together. Everything will be. So moving on, we have desk with us, Steve Roland and Ms. Katie Burks.
So I think we have some slides here.
Yeah, I sent slides as well to the email address. It's Katie Burke. I sent them at the beginning of the meeting. So
All right, well, maybe while those are getting pulled up, I'll just do a quick introduction and then I'll turn it over to Katie. For those who don't know me, my name is Steve. I work at Downtown Eden's Kitchen or Desk. We are a homelessness services organization based downtown that does dinner program as well as a drop-in center and a food pantry program. The background to the work that Katie's going to be presenting on now is about a little over a year and a half, maybe almost 2 years ago, we, through conversations with a lot of the people we were working with our clients, we started thinking about different ways we could be serving people that we were currently serving and how we could be providing better services. For a long time, Desk has done work with people who use drugs, specifically around overdose prevention work. So we've been doing a syringe services program for a while. We've been training our staff to both administer Narcan, but also distribute Narcan and community. So in ways of trying to address the opioid crisis, we decided to bring on consultant Katie through Vicente Consulting to think about different ways that we could actually be addressing this problem. So with that, I will turn it over to Katie to tell you about the research project that she's been working on.
thank you. Hi, and thanks for hanging in towards the end of the meeting. So I'm Katie. I've been working with Desk since August of last year, and we've been really thinking about how to best address what's happening with overdose in New Haven, how it's impacting the Desk clients in particular. So I want to talk a little bit about that tonight. If you can move to the next slide. So what we've been doing is, we hit the next slide, is we started to really do some internal work at Desk, thinking and talking about this issue, how it's impacting clients, talking to the board about sort of their concerns and thoughts about expanding overdose prevention services. And then this winter, I spent a lot of time talking to people with lived experience of substance use and lived experience of homelessness. And so I spent a lot of time in shelters and drop-in centers at a lot of the Desk programs, at warming centers, kind of asking folks what they thought was important to do and how to best address what's happening, and heard a lot from folks about sort of their firsthand experience of loss and repeated loss, right? That folks are losing people kind of over and over again. And so now what we're doing is we're kind of broadening the circle of who we've talked to and doing more community meetings like this. We've done a lot of interviews with local experts that are first responders. We've talked to some policemen like Lieutenant Fumiati. We've talked to folks that work in addiction medicine, that run methadone programs, that run housing programs, and we're talking more to sort of the general community. And so moving forward, we'll be talking to alders. And tonight is just sort of an introduction to the issue. And we'll actually be back in September to have a more kind of intentional community meeting and conversation. Well, folks will have an opportunity to sort of brainstorm, give feedback. So we're just kind of dipping our toe in tonight, but we'll be back to talk a little bit more. Next slide, please. So wanted to just kind of ground this in a little bit of data. This won't be super heavy data presentation, but in Connecticut, in the US, overdoses have been skyrocketing over the past since 2012-ish. So we're in, 12, 13 years now. And in New Haven, we have the highest rate of overdose in the state of Connecticut, I believe. And so almost 2 to 3 times the rate of overdose, fatal overdose in New Haven as compared to the rest of the state. So this is a really local concern here, right? This is impacting your neighbors, your friends, your community here in New Haven. Next slide, please. And so I mentioned that we'd been doing all this kind of outreach to folks with lived experience of substance use, and also folks that are working on the front lines, right? So police, fire department, emergency rooms, housing providers, like outreach staff that work in homeless services. And they're describing sort of qualitatively what the data are showing us, right? That not only that folks are really losing friends and family members and community members, but it's really taxing our system. So in the emergency room, they're dealing with overdoses every day. One of our ER providers say, I see people who are at risk of overdose who have overdose every single shift in the emergency room. A housing provider said, yeah, we're having to Narcan people all the time. This is stressful for our staff. It's stressful for the other residents. So this is has a wide reach, this issue, right? It's impacting a lot of folks. Next slide, please. And the reason for this really is that the drug supply has really changed. So you all have probably heard a little bit in the news about fentanyl, which is a very strong synthetic opiate that is very, very powerful, and it's kind of really infiltrated the entire drug supply. And so folks are ingesting fentanyl all the time, maybe sometimes thinking that they bought something else, but because it's so toxic and so strong, it can drive overdose deaths. And so what we know from our data is that the majority of overdose deaths in Connecticut involve fentanyl right now. Increasingly, we're hearing more about xylazine, which is an animal tranquilizer that's getting mixed into the drug supply that is causing a lot of problems with sedation in addition to overdose risk. And that the majority of people that overdosed in Connecticut in 2021 didn't have any, that fatally overdosed, didn't have any witnesses to their overdose, right? So they were by themselves when they overdosed and died, 89% of folks. Next slide. And so you can just kind of go through this animation. Sorry if you do 1, 2, 3, I think. And so the evidence-based overdose prevention strategies, one is to give out Narcan, right? So community-based naloxone distribution. Make sure not just that sort of like the police and the fire department have it, but also people that use drugs and their friends and family members, the people that are most likely to witness overdose. And so we've really scaled that up here in Connecticut. Of the folks that I talked to, I specifically asked them about this, people that use drugs, like, do you have a hard time getting Narcan? And for the most part, folks said that they were able to get it, right? So that's a really important, essential tool that we're doing a decent job of having rolled out and scaled up in Connecticut, I think, and in New Haven in particular. And then there's also medicated assisted treatment, right? So methadone, buprenorphine, like getting folks on medication that can help them address their opioid withdrawal symptoms and make it not dangerous to stop using. Again, we're pretty lucky here in New Haven. The community has pretty good access to that kind of treatment, that evidence-based drug treatment. I talked to folks that ran methadone programs, that were patients at methadone programs, and folks said that they kind of knew how to access that medication. So these two first kind of options, we have decent access to, not perfect, right? It could always be better. We could always scale it up. But relative to a lot of other parts of the state, certainly a lot of other parts of the country, we're doing decently well. What we haven't tried yet here in Connecticut are overdose prevention centers, and I'll explain a little bit more about what those are. You can go to the next slide. So overdose prevention centers are actually places, if you've heard of places that give out Narcan and sterile syringes, right, for folks that use drugs. Intervention that we sort of started to really push here in the United States in the late 80s and in the 90s in the HIV crisis is that if folks were injecting drugs, which was a big transmission risk for HIV, right, they could come and get rid of their used syringes and get sterile syringes. And it really, really made an impact on reducing HIV transmission. And so we've had that intervention here in New Haven. Actually, New Haven was one of the earliest adopters of that, and it made a huge difference again. And that's also where folks get connected to services. So there's a lot of research that shows that people that use these kind of harm reduction programs are more likely to access drug treatment, right? Because they know who to ask for help and they already have a connection with a place. So overdose prevention centers take that model and take it a step further, where it's if folks are purchasing drugs on the street, we would rather have them be in a safe place and be observed when they're using those drugs, because if they overdose, they can get in an ambulance and go to the hospital, or someone's there to administer Narcan right away. And so this is a model that's been rolled out pretty extensively in Europe, in Canada, in Australia, and we're starting to see more of it here in the United States. And so there's an overdose prevention center in New York City that has that model. One just opened in Minneapolis. There's one slated to open in Providence, Rhode Island this summer. And so it's starting to sort of catch on in the US a little bit. And the research is actually very definitive about the benefits of overdose prevention centers. They're effective at preventing fatal overdose, right? So we see overdose death rates reduce. They reduce the emergency service use, so it's less of a strain on the hospitals because folks can sort of address the overdose incident there. They do reduce infectious disease transmission because, again, people are also getting access to sterile supplies. There's some pretty clear evidence that they reduce public drug use and debris. And so folks that I've talked to that have been concerned about sort of witnessing drug use on the streets, this is like folks have somewhere to go. And the people that I talk to that use drugs are like, we don't want to use drugs on the street. We just don't have anywhere safe to go. And so this kind of solves that problem on both sides. And there was just a study, for example, there's several studies, but there was one that just came out recently in New York that demonstrated that they do not increase any drug trafficking, robbery, vehicle break-in. So there's always a concern that, you know, if we have a service like this, that crime will increase, but that's not what we actually see in the data. And that they're cost effective, and that importantly, they connect folks to services, right? So people want to be able to, if they want to get on methadone that day, they have access right there at the overdose prevention center. If they want help sort of finding housing or job services, they can get help for that. Next slide. And so I mentioned this, but again, they're in over 60 jurisdictions globally. In Providence here in the Northeast, there's one opening, I think, in the next couple months. They've been formally implemented in New York City and Minneapolis and San Francisco, where I am originally from. They had been implemented there. There's one that's planned in Philadelphia, and it's currently in legal proceedings because there's been a little pushback about it. So, and this is just a photograph, if you see on the bottom right, of an example of one. This overdose prevention center is actually, I think, in Geneva, where you see it's just kind of people have a little station. There's kind of trained, oftentimes clinical personnel that are walking around. There's clinical services there if folks have wounds, for example, that they can get attended to. And so usually these centers are doing a lot of things in addition to providing a safe space for folks. So next slide. So this is something that we're just in the process of assessing now. We're kind of educating the community. We're talking to folks about like, hey, this is an option. We're interested in what folks think about this, and if we think it's something that would be helpful to stem the tide of fatal overdose in the community. And so again, we're doing a lot of kind of interviews as part of our assessment process, talking to lots of experts, lots of community members that are concerned about this issue, starting to do just kind of little introductory talks like this, but we'll be back in September and really want to invite everyone to come participate in the dialogue and consider what our options are for continuing to try to save more lives in New Haven. So I'll stop there. Thanks.
Can I ask a question? Oh, yeah. So there's a network of community gardens around the city. There was a fatal overdose in the community garden at English and Peck about a year ago. Also about a year ago, we had students out of the Clinton Avenue school garden, and a student picked up a used syringe out of one of the garden beds. There's been ongoing concern about people living in some of the greenhouses and drugs being found surrounding there. So it's a kind of unique. It's not your typical place where you're gonna find people necessarily to have the conversations that you're talking about. But I think you know, one of the things that strikes me is that for people that are looking for a place like a school garden to hang out and sleep and do drugs, you know, if they have to go downtown or go to Westville to find a safe place, it's not really going to change things, I don't think. So I guess what I'm saying is, if this is gonna happen, and I'm sort of neutral about it right now, it needs to be accessible to people who will really take advantage of it, right? So I don't know how that gets determined, but, I think some of the realities that we live with in this neighborhood, and if you do any kind of volunteer work, you're gonna encounter stuff on the street as you're walking, or, trying to protect kids. Luckily, the kid had, rubberized glove on when he held the thing in front of me. I'm like, so it takes really a lot of coordination with people that are providing all kinds of services, from the schools to the community gardens. Right?
Yeah, I think that that's an excellent point. I think that I'm from the Hartford area, right? But this something I've really learned in my time in New Haven is how sort of neighborhood focused the city is, and that's something that when I talk to folks with lived experience, like, hey, is this something that you would use, that you would utilize? And they brought the same concern, right? Like, well, if there's something in downtown, like, how is that going to help the folks in Fairhaven? And so, that's an interesting sort of balance to think about if and when we get to a place of implementation, is sort of like how to utilize resources to get the sort of most bang for your buck, in terms of having somewhere that's accessible. And the folks that use drugs that I talk to are kind of like, I don't know where they're going to put it, but people aren't going to like the idea. And so if it's in some like weird industrial corner of the city, that's going to be really hard for us to get to, like they could kind of anticipate that same thing. So I think that, those are questions that have to be discussed, with the community involved, like with the leadership involved. But I think that you're exactly right. We need to really look at where the issues are and how to make it as accessible as possible for most people that could use it.
I think assessing where the issues are is really important, because it's kind of happening in many different places.
Agree. I thought in the back of the come back.
All the trails. So I mean, like we definitely, like volunteers with Safe the Sound, have come across syringes at all of our cleanups along the Mill River Trail, and even earlier this week in somebody's yard. It was a little bit further into the ground, but it's just been an ongoing issue. I had an idea and I got some pushback from it, but I wonder if other folks had in the room had a different concept. How we have like the sharks boxes in bathrooms? What are y'all's thoughts about having those at like public places, like community gardens, like where we're seeing a lot of activity? Like, I wonder if folks would throw things away if they had the opportunity to.
So during the pandemic, the city actually piloted a couple of these publicly available. So the city's actually been putting them in a lot of places. So they've been putting them in
but they're camping out and using at parks and community gardens.
So the city piloted putting them in outdoor spaces as well. They only did like 2 or 3 of them.
We had one on Paris.
It was about Avenue.
Yeah,
There's
one up by John C. Daniels. There's a couple around the city.
How have they worked? I mean, were they helpful?
Were they used? They were definitely used.
Yeah, we actually, I'm so sorry, but we're like several minutes over, and so we have another 10 minutes. But you guys feel free to take this offline, and after the meeting, definitely rendezvous and discuss further.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And then Alder Miller, did you have something very quick?
Yeah, I can cover my report.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
She's on. All right, so what's up, joining us online, we have Mr. David Hunter with Mary Wade.
Sorry, I don't know. It's the background to be this.
Oh, sure.
I don't know why.
Oh, I was looking at that one. I can do it.
Hi, everyone. I have asked for time on this agenda to speak about our plans, or not our plans, but to talk about this building that's behind me. It's called, we call it the Lucy Boardman Residence because Lucy Boardman was the benefactor to build the major portion of this in honor of her sister, Mary Wade. And prior to that, we were called the Home for the Friendless. This is currently licensed by the state of Connecticut as a residential care home. We have the capacity to house 45 seniors in this building. It's essentially an assisted living model that is funded by the state of Connecticut. We have a license with Department of Public Health. We are annually inspected by the public health inspectors. And we currently, or the program is designed to provide room and board, including 3 meals, medication administration, housekeeping and laundry, and activities. As I said, I think I said we've currently have the capacity for 45 residents. These are senior men and women who struggle with living alone in an apartment setting for various reasons and need some support, which they receive at Mary Wade. The building itself was constructed in 2 different periods, but the building was essentially constructed in 1890. And if you were to come in our building, what it looks like today is exactly the way it was built in 1890. And so we have hired an architectural firm from New Haven, Sviegel's Architects, who are well known in our community and have a specialty with renovating older buildings. We've spent the past 2 years trying to come up with plans, meeting with the state, meeting with various people to come up with a plan to upgrade the building. Why do we need to upgrade the building? Well, as particularly the south side of this building was constructed primarily for children at the time. At that time, it was called the Home for the Friendly. It was for women and children, and so we had a great need to house children. And that structure was done primarily for the children. So the rooms are small; they're probably 8 by 9, 8 by 10. There's no private bathrooms. The bathrooms are shared. And there's no air conditioning in the building, no central air conditioning in the building. And the corridors on this particular wing is about 3.5 feet wide. So it's a struggle to get an ambulance gurney in this area when people need services, ambulance services. So we've been striving to come up with a plan and we'd like to present it to the community and so to get your input on our plans. So we plan to have a meeting on Thursday, June 20th at 6 o'clock at Mary Wade Home. I'll have the architect there and she'll be able to go through all of the various scenarios that we've been considering and present it to you. And then we'll also have opportunities to tour some of the area that we're looking to do. So that's it. June 20th, 6 p.m. I'll have some refreshments available. I'm not positive exactly where we'll meet. It'll probably depend on how many people show up. If you are coming, give me a call or give me a call or email me or something. It's not essential that you let me know ahead of time. We'll expect a group to come and there'll be discussion and et cetera, et cetera.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions for Mr. Hunter? I don't see anything here in the room. I don't think I see anything online either. Thank you so much for the information, for the update.
You're welcome.
Okay. Next up, we'll have Kirk with the Fairhaven Library with his updates.
Hey everyone, wanted to tell you guys about a few things that are going on. We did a quick changeover before this meeting. We had our kickoff party for our summer reading program, which is actually for all ages. If you have a kid or you're an adult, you can participate in either. Just ask one of the library staff here. But we had a large crowd here for our friends at Riverside Reptiles. I suppose if if there's any snakes or lizards around that are still there, I'm sure it's okay. But anyway, yeah, we had a large crowd, but it's a kickoff for the summer reading. So let us know if you would like to participate. Also going on is we like many folks, we will be open on Saturday, but we'll also be taking part in Riverfest down at the Quinnipiac River Marina. We've been allowed use of the library system's book bike. So come see us over there, get a good look at the book bike, and we'll have some goodies and some giveaways that are taking place there. A week from today, in the community room where the meeting's currently going on, we're excited to have an archivist from Yale, Jennifer Coggins, who will be coming and doing a program about preserving your history. So if you've been wanting to figure out how you're going to get your family photos together, organize your papers, things like that, we'll have a free program next week, 6 o'clock, right here, right, same room, with Jennifer Coggins from Yale. The following week, if you know anyone who is interested in taking the steps to be a citizen, our friends from Apostle Immigrant Services on Blatchley Avenue, some of you folks that have been around for a while will remember we used to have workshops with them in the past, pre-pandemic, and we're really excited to have them come back. So 2 weeks from today, there will be a program, a bilingual program, English and Spanish, with Apostle Immigrant Services, who will be doing a workshop on the steps to become a citizen. Lastly, I guess I should say next to last, our community gardens in the rear of the building are growing. And our excellent volunteers from Gavin New Haven are doing a great job back there. We hope to soon have our first harvest. We'll be glad to tell you guys about that. Generally, those have been on Monday, but the way it works is whatever is harvested that week is brought in, and you can take whatever you want for free. You can't get fresher, you can't get more local, and you can't get more free because it's free. And then finally, I also wanted to make sure to plug Chandra, who spoke earlier. We're really excited to have the mobile farmers market come back in July. So at least some of your food needs can be taken care of right here at the library. That's it, unless anyone has any questions.
Okay, anybody on here in person? Are there anything online? So far, I don't see anything online either.
Good. Thanks.
I do appreciate it. And Adam, just to confirm, do we have quorum so we can approve 2 minutes?
Yes, we do.
I'd like to move to approve the minutes from last month.
I second motion.
Perfect. All right. So we're good. We're approved. So I'm going to move. I just want to move over here to give the announcements really quick. Really quick announcements. I just want everyone to be able to see me because I have something really, really important to. All right. Yep. So one of the things that is really, really important I'm actually going through this situation right now. For anyone that you know, or if you yourself has SNAP benefits, it's really, really, really extremely important that every time you use your card, you change your PIN, because there's a very big problem right now where they're stealing people's food stamps. And it's been going on for a rather long time. It takes 7 to 10 days for them to give a card back to the person that lost their benefits, and it could take up to 30 days till you have access to them again. And the state of Connecticut does not have emergency funds right now to be able to just give something to people right away. So they are referring families to food pantries. That's what they're doing right now. So I just wanted to put that out there because I found that, it's just not a good situation. They shared that Walmart, La Marqueta, Key Foods, a few other stores, and one of the farmers markets, not City Seed, but one of them has the issue where they're just able to steal, like you swipe your card, just like they were doing before with credit cards and debit cards, and they're just stealing people's benefits every month. And so I just wanted to put that out there really quickly. And there's another event that's coming up on July 13th at Gulf Street Park. It's called the 3rd Annual Mama's Love Community Day. It's in honor memory of Miss Latoya Glasper. It's just to learn about health and wellness, resources for you and your family, including how to keep your home safe from lead and other hazards. There's going to be DJs, pizza, raffle, activities for the whole family. So I printed up flyers. I have the English on one side, Spanish on the other. They're here at the library, and we're going to share it in the e-blast as well, so everyone has the information. A couple other announcements, and then we'll move on to the Alder reports. We just wanted to remind everyone of the board member vacancies. So if you know someone or if you yourself would like to be considered and run, let us know. And Riverfest outreach, we have the information here of qriverfestct.com. If you want, I guess, want to help out, and that's coming up actually tomorrow, Saturday, we have Riverfest. So those are our announcements for now. We'll move on to.
I just wanted to throw in real quick that we do not currently have vacancies on the board. We have a full board at the time, but several people have mentioned that they're probably not going to be running again next year. If you are a voting member, that means 5 out of the last 12 months, you're free to run. And so, think of what skills you're good with, what kind of things. And it's all in the bylaws now, kind of what you have to do, but it's pretty self-explanatory of, there's a secretary that writes things down. There's people like Liz and Lee who lead the meetings. There's people like me who check the attendance and stuff like that. So if you're a voting member or you have enough months left so if you know somebody in the neighborhood and they've never come to a meeting, they could start coming now and not quite make it. But if you're a few meetings behind on your membership or whatever, you want to, like, oh, I got to make sure I make it to the next couple of months. It's a thing you can do.
Thank you for adding all that. Thank you so much, Adam. I forgot. Sorry, I forgot all that. It's been very stressful tonight with all these technical difficulties. So without further ado, we'll move on to our Alder reports. I know Alder Kubo is unavailable due to health reasons. I'm not sure if anyone has an update on her behalf or not with Ward 8.
No.
No? Okay, no updates from her. Alder Caroline Canby Smith with Ward 9.
Yes, she sent her update to me, so I will give that update. Do I need to move closer?
Yeah, I'll switch.
And so she even sent slides, so I will go through these quickly. So essentially there's an entrepreneur listening session that Alder Smith is hosting alongside City Seed Incubates and New Haven Department of, I don't know what EDA means, agriculture, I think.
Economic development.
Oh, economic development, thank you. Cool. And the Grand Avenue Special Services District. So if you're interested in learning about how to become a food entrepreneur, food business owner, this is for you, and food will be provided. So thanks to Alder Smith for organizing this. The Mill River Underpass project. So the youth are working on a new, I think it's I don't know if it's a mural or just like reimagining the space. But anyway, that is something Alder Smith is working on, which kind of sits between the Mill River and the Mill River Trail and the hockey rink. And then if you need to sign up for her newsletter, it is
right there. You can see that. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. All right. Thank you to Alder Smith for sending those updates and for all the work.
Thank you, Abby, for giving her updates. Alder Ana Festa with Ward 10. Did you get anything from her?
Nope.
Okay. Nothing from Alder Festa. Alder Sarah Miller is joining us via Zoom. She moved via Zoom. I saw her earlier.
Yep. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
I'm sorry I had to run home. We had a little issue with my children, but it is resolved. So just a few updates. Riverfest Saturday, we all know about that. There's also a number of arts and ideas events that are happening in Fairhaven. There's 3 different tours. I think Lee's doing all of them. Grand Avenue food tour, Murals of Fairhaven bike tour, and a public art and food tour. They're all on the Arts and Ideas website. There's also a tour of Lucky Climbers on June 20th, which if you haven't been there, it's on East Street, and it's an amazing old warehouse. They make these jungle gyms for kids, and there's very few of them in this area. But they open it up and they let kids go play. You can see what they're like. They're really cool. So if you have kids or know of kids, you might want to bring them there. And all the details are on Arts and Ideas website. And of course, lots of other Arts and Ideas stuff downtown and in other parts of the city. Our Friends of Quinnipiac River Park group is starting to work again. This is actually their first night tonight. They're working every Thursday at 6 o'clock, planting trees, doing beautification of the park. Tom Burwell, who's been doing it for a number of years, is continuing to be the lead on that. You can also contact me or URI for more details. I also want to mention, in light of Desk's presentation, I expect we will have a fuller report on this in the future from Fairhaven Health Center, but it was in the press, so I'll just mention to anybody who doesn't know that Fairhaven Community Healthcare was awarded a significant portion of the opioid, New Haven's portion of the opioid settlement for this year, to set up an engagement center. It's not a place for using substances, but it is a place for services and support. And it's something that we've been working with the lieutenant and the business community on for a couple of years. We've had a plan in place for a while, but really haven't had the funding. So we now have the funding, and Fairhaven Health Center is going to be the lead on that. So there's 2 different locations that are being considered. I think both of them would work pretty well. And the idea is really just to provide a place for people who are using substances, people who are engaged in sex work, even people who are engaged in public drinking, for us to be able to send them someplace for services, and also at the same time get them off the street so that they're not interfering with the economic activity on Grand Avenue. So more to come on that, but I'm happy to answer any questions that I have, but just want people to know that that is in the works. The plan at the moment is to start in October, and there's a team that includes a number of nonprofits in Fairhaven, Junta, GASD, I don't remember everybody who's at the table, but it's a good group that has been working together for some time. And if anybody who's interested in being involved is welcome to join us. Let's see, our community schools project is moving along as well. We have 2 new hires who are going to start next week. And so that one of those people, her name is Lahim Chang Salazar, will be coming to this meeting going forward to represent that project and let you know how you can get involved. The other thing I want to mention is, as part of the Community Schools Initiative, we're starting a Fairhaven Youth Clean Team, and Junta is going to be the lead, and working also with Bregamos Theater. Ralph was supposed to be on this call, but I do not see him. We did some of the planning today. So we're going to have 10 young people who are cleaning Fairhaven from 9 to 1, 5 days a week for 6 weeks. So all of July and 2 weeks in August, under supervision of people from Junta and with help also from Raphael. And one thing we are going to need is volunteers to go out with the young people, because we have people who are kind of supervising the program, but we don't have somebody to go out every single day and work with the young people. So we're inviting people from the community to maybe take a day or 2 and be part of the team working with young people. It can be anybody over the age of 18. So we'll send out more information about that. Junta's putting together a sign up form, but if that piques your interest, you can start thinking about that as well. Lots of other things. I sent out a newsletter yesterday or the day before, and it's available at ward14.org. And happy to take any questions and welcome input as always.
Thank you, Alder Miller. I don't see any questions here at the library.
Oh, quick question.
Go ahead.
Oh, Sarah?
Yep.
Oh, can you disclose locations of the Fairhaven Health clinics or centers that you were talking about?
It will, we haven't, the location hasn't been finalized yet. Like I said, there's two, so I don't want to tell you one location, then it changes. But as soon as it's finalized, we'll let you know. Both of them are pretty far. They're not in the center of Fairhaven. So the idea is to be sort of removed from the center of the neighborhood. And also, but also I think it's important to have a partner that can really manage it well. And I have a lot of confidence that Fairhaven Health Center will be able to do that.
But there's community input on the locations, correct?
Yeah, I mean, we'll, like I said, Fairhaven, somebody I'm sure will come and do a fuller presentation at some point when more of the details are in place.
And Eddie is welcoming your feedback also in the chat.
Yep, and Eddie's part of the team as well. And I will just add in terms of the desk presentation that I think that's a service that is very much needed as well. And I would welcome it in Fairhaven as long as, you know, we can agree on a location that makes sense. And there's a management plan in place. I mean, I would have it next to my house if there was a good management plan in place. So just want to share that as well.
Thank you so much, Alder Miller. And with Eddie's information, we'll make sure we have that all in the e-blast as well, so everyone has his number, email address, and so they can reach out to him as well. Great, thank you. And Alder Frank, Redempti Jr. joining us online via Zoom.
Well, hello, everyone. Sorry I couldn't make it in person tonight. Thank you to everyone who's presented so far. Special thanks to Lieutenant Fumiati. I would say we'd miss you, but mental health, we'll see you. Believe me, we're going to see you around here. So I just wanted to give you guys some updates on some of the committees that I'm on. First off is the Equal Opportunities Commission. I'll give you a little background. Equal Opportunities is comprised of 8 mayoral appointees and me. And all the mayoral appointees are approved by the Board of Alders, and their commission membership is only 3 years. The commission is responsible for working with federal, state, and city agencies, as well as private, civic, religious, business, industrial, labor, and other organizations and persons to achieve harmonious intergroup relations in the community, as well as to develop and establish positive programs that will help all members of the community enjoy equality of opportunity in all phases of community life. In addition, the community is responsible for studying and investigating individual or community problems of limited opportunity, prejudice, discrimination, segregation, and disorder intention that may cause. For a complete list of all the powers and duties of the EOC, there's information published on the New Haven City website. Just some announcements. Recently, the Equal Opportunities Commission was able to get new fees and fines established for contractors, and those will start July 1st. The fines went up substantially, especially for repeat offenders. We also have made it possible now for general contractors to be held liable for the violations of their subcontractors, which wasn't happening in the past. So that is all positive changes happening on the equal opportunities front. I'm sorry that Jaywan couldn't make it tonight, but I'm the Alder representative to the CRB, so I can give you guys a brief overview of what took place this week. The CRB went in front of Legislation Committee to introduce a number of amendments to its ordinances to give the CRB more oversight on issues of police misconduct and other issues. Most of the issues came down to collective bargaining, so we weren't able to get anywhere with them. However, we were able to establish some new ground rules around our membership, especially on how CRB members are appointed. And I can update you in the next meeting on the specifics of that. Dover Beach Park, the site has experienced a lot of issues recently, from people sleeping there to dumping and leaving excessive trash, drug use, drinking. And since taking office, I've gotten a number of calls regarding this site. I'd like to first off thank Crystal Manning and Joyce Alton for all the work they've done down there over the last few years, trying to clean it up and weed it. So last week I called together State Representative Al Paolillo, State Rep Roland Lamar, and numerous staff members from DOT to discuss plans going forward for this site as a gateway to the shoreline community. It needs to be taken care of a little better. So we found what is state responsibility, what is city responsibility. We have some further coordination to do, but we have similar plans to what Caroline is planning over there by East Rock. Not so comprehensive, more just taking down the fence and cleaning up the site so that we have better sight lines for the PD, so that we can see what's going on. And, the ladies can be safer when they're working over there. And so that could also be more family friendly. Last week, I was also honored to be asked by Juan Carlos Soto of the New Haven Pride Center to speak alongside the mayor, our state treasurer, Eric Russell, Alder Caroline Smith, as well as Juan Carlos Soto from the Pride Center. It was, as a queer elected official, it was an honor to be asked to be a part of that. And I will continue to fight for LGBT rights, especially for our youth. And just to finish off, I just want to continue to encourage residents to utilize See-Click Fix for neighborhood issues, street cleaning, tree issues, it. Put them up there. Don't be afraid to put them up there. They come right to my email and I can follow up right away. Also, if it's something that you feel like you need the police for, please start utilizing the non-emergency number at 203-946-6316, and don't be afraid to call more than once. So that's all I have for you tonight, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Frank. And last but not least, Alder Jose Crespo, Ward 16. He is not here in person nor online, and I do not think we received anything via email from him regarding updates. So we will go ahead and always, if you want him to come, definitely reach out and email him, call him, text him to encourage him to come to our monthly meetings. And our time is almost up, so I would like to officially call to adjourn this month's meeting.
Second.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, everyone, for your
Thank
patience.
you. We'll work on connections for next time. But thank you to the lieutenant for volunteering your laptop as well. All right. Have a good everything, everyone. I'll see you next month.
Thanks, Adam.